Thank you. And perfect. Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me on Agent Upgrade Live. Normally, of course, we do this at a community center here in Calgary where we have agents come over and get to learn and build their skills and collaborate and do all kinds of fun stuff. But unfortunately, with COVID and the self-isolation and all of that, we're doing this on Zoom. Now, the good part about that is that a lot more people have access to this because they may not be in Calgary. So that's the silver lining on this cloud, if you will. Let's get started. Agent Upgrade, if you haven't been a part of Agent Upgrade in the past, it's something that we created. It's a community of agents all getting together and doing training and development. We are really focused on upgrading agents' business and their personal lives. So by giving them real estate training, this is our belief, is by giving them real estate training, giving agents real estate training, we can actually improve their lives by making their business more efficient, by making them more income, by giving them more of the tips and tricks that we've done in the past to make our lives better and to increase our own income, and sharing what we've done in the past. Little housekeeping issue. I've been told recently that through PIPA and some other things, I should be informing everybody that this is going to be recorded. So if you don't want to be showing up on a little icon somewhere, you can turn your camera off or whatever. It's always nice for me. I can see some smiling faces on here. So I'd prefer to see faces, but just so you know, we are going to be recording this, and we'll put it up on YouTube afterwards for you to rewatch as many times as you want. I really think you're going to love this training session. This is going to be something that will probably transform the way that you take listings. It'll transform the number of listings that you get, and I think you're really going to love it. So a little introduction of myself. I'm Pablo Galvez. I'm based in Calgary, Canada. I am a top producing realtor. My wife, Simone Russo, is also on the call today. She's my wife and partner. She's the boss in the relationship. And so it's really exciting to have her on today's call as well. We've averaged over 70 transactions a year. We've been in business since 2009, late 2009 into 2010. And I'm now a realtor, trainer, and mentor. And this is what I love doing. And we kind of created this about 6 months ago as an opportunity to give back. I mean, we've been high producing agents. Our business focus is shifting a little bit into, building a team and kind of growing our agent count, et cetera. But we have the opportunity financially and skill wise to be able to train additional realtors. So this is what we love to do. And we're really grateful for all the agents that we've been able to help so far. It's been a really great journey. This is all part of a big master plan. So here we are, module number 106. I'm creating all of this kind of from the training that I've received in the past and the experience that we have. We already have gone through this year so far since January, real estate fundamentals, goal setting and business planning, scheduling and time management. These are all really valuable lessons. And then coming up next is going to be working with buyers, and then we're going to do open houses, and then we're going to do lead follow-up and CRMs, and then scripts and dialogues. And then after that, this is going to be the second half of the year. We're going to go through modules 201 all the way down to 210. So this is like the advanced course, if you will. And this is a really good opportunity if you maybe have mastered the fundamentals, but you want to take your business to the next level, or you want to know what the kind of advanced skills are going to be required for you to become a high producing realtor in whatever market you're in. These lessons are designed for the most part to be anywhere in North America, they'll work, okay? So really appreciate if you spread the word, follow us on social media. We do all this for free. We don't get paid to do any of this. So by all means, if you can help us by just kind of building the subscriber count and building all of that, find us on YouTube, find us on Facebook, and just follow and like and do all that kind of stuff that social media does. That'd be great. So a little recap of what we did last week on lead generation and conversion. It was a great lesson on how to get leads and how to convert leads. All right. We talked about the numerous different ways that you can find leads no matter what market you're in. We talked about passive versus active lead generation, what to say, like the conversations and the scripts that you can use. We had some great downloads from that as well. And we worked on developing the mindset around lead generation so that you had the right frame of mind when approaching leads to talk about real estate. Then we talked about establishing some of the habits and routines that can be beneficial to you generating more leads and generating more business. So it was a great topic. I did record it, so if you can find it on the Agent Upgrade YouTube page. We've got it there, and also on agentupgrade.ca at the bottom in the blog section, it's in there as well. Okay, so today we're talking about the listing presentation, and I'm proud to say that we've got one of the absolute best, in my opinion, listing agents in North America with us today, Simone Russo, and I'm really I'm excited to hear what she has to say because she is an absolute rock star listing agent. So we're going to talk with her. And then, you know, just so you know kind of how the two of us work, like she's the doer, I'm the thinker. And so I'm the person who's kind of put together all the processes and all the technical behind the scenes. I'm going to share with you a little bit of what I've done and then also what Simone's done. And I think this is going to be something that you're going to want to watch over and over and over, because it may be a lot of information for you to take in at the beginning, okay? So today we're gonna talk about the listing process, the listing presentation itself, and as a bonus, I've got something that I wanna share with you at the very end. It's really great. It's a whole section. It's like 17 points on how a seller selects an agent. And this will be really valuable for you at the end, so stick around. One of the things in real estate is that we as real estate agents wear many hats. I think we'd all agree, right? So the simplified view is, well, we help buyers and we help sellers. But in reality, it's a lot more complex than that, right? We're forced to become skilled at so many different facets of business. And that includes, you know, business administration, deal administration, negotiation, sales, marketing. I mean, we really have to do it all and do it well to perform at a high level. That can be very difficult. That's why when we talk about outsourcing or finding administration or administrators to be able to offload some of those things, having a team of people who can actually help you with these things can be very valuable. I mean, even just being a business manager and understanding the fundamentals of business can really propel your real estate company or your real estate business, right? So I said, what is a listing presentation? So when we really fundamentalize what the listing presentation, I said this, the listing presentation is a sales presentation made by a realtor to a seller to convert that lead, right? To convert that lead into a client. So you're actually selling the client on using you and your team rather than using another agent, or rather than listing and selling it themselves, right? We know that that often happens too. So if we look at, you know, there's many different styles of listing presentations, and we're going to touch on kind of one style of listing presentation, but just to know that there's many different styles. I mean, you can go very electronic, very digital with this, or you can go very analog with this, and either way is okay. However, I'm going to talk to you about why incorporating some of the analog or old school techniques is really important when doing a listing presentation. I mean, you think about the value of taking a listing and getting it sold, right? The average commission in your area might be $3 grand, it might be $5 grand, it might be 10 grand, it might be 20 grand, depending on where you are, right? It can be a huge amount of cash. So doing it right is going to be really critical to your long-term success. Now, again, old school and new school is kind of the different styles. But one thing that's really important, I believe, is that your listing presentation should match your brand, okay? And I'm going to talk about like what that means, because your brand is really important. Like overall, your brand is really important. I did a whole presentation on brand and understanding and developing and creating your brand. We went through some exercises on that. So I'm not going to dig too deep on it, but let's talk like really quickly about brand consistency with your listing presentation. So number one is going to be the content. What content is in your listing package? This is the type of information you provide. Are you making the content about your company? Is it going to be about your track record? Is it about your actions? Or is it all about your client? Ask yourself those kind of questions. What about the graphic design? Okay, the graphic design is going to be the fonts, the logos, the colors, the overall feel. What kind of emotion is this package? You know, there's a whole study, if you look on Google and you look up the emotions based with colors. So if you have red, that can mean very bold and very energetic, right? But it can also mean like blood and death and harshness, right? Purple might mean soft and friendly, right? And approachable. So there's a psychology behind each color, and you should understand whatever color your logo is, there's a brand consistency that should carry through, and it should be consistent with whatever your personal belief and personal brand is. So graphic design is important. The tone of language. Now, the tone of language that you're going to use in your listing presentation, are you whimsical with your tone? And you know what I mean by whimsical, like really light and soft? Are you casual? Are you professional? Are you bold? Are you funny? Like if you're a very comedic person naturally, maybe your listing presentation is all funny and it's designed that way to be kind of comical and interactive with the client. So you have to understand what is your personality and how does it come across in the writing and the content in your package, okay? The length, do you have a 20-minute listing presentation or is it a 2-hour listing presentation, and why? Why is it that long? Design your listing presentation so that it's going to be beneficial to the seller and that you can get all the information across, of course, not necessarily in the longest period of time. The materials, this is one of my favorite parts of marketing is the materials that we use. So look at the quality of the paper that you use. Are you printing it on just the cheap laser printer stuff? Or are you finding a really nice premium paper at Staples or Office Depot? Or in my case, I searched like worldwide for a shimmery paper. It's got like a little bit of like a metallic sheen to it. And it wasn't tacky or overdone, but it just had a little bit of metallic quality to it. So beautiful. So the materials, like how does everything that you're giving a client, how does it feel to the touch, right? Are you using foil? Are you using embossing, which is where they use the raised lettering, right? So when you give somebody your card, do they feel it and go, oh, this is nice, right? That gives a first impression, right? So that's the materials. The appearance. Are you more of a casual person like the person on the left side, or are you more of a professional person like the person on the right side? Obviously, your appearance is going to impact what your client, it's like a first impression, right? So it's going to impact their ability to judge you right off the bat. And people do judge you, believe me. Sellers judge you, people on the streets judge you, everybody judges people. So your appearance is going to be very, very important. And what do you want your clients to see? You know, I'm usually dressed like this, and I often run into clients at a Safeway or something when I'm grocery shopping, and they'll say, oh my gosh, I didn't even recognize you, or they've never seen me in anything other than a suit. And so this is just my brand, and my brand is that way, okay? The next thing is the energy and enthusiasm that you're portraying. Do you naturally have energy and enthusiasm? And if not, should you have more energy and enthusiasm? You know, what does it do? Like what happens in a room when, and everybody knows probably someone who's very expressive, someone who's very exciting to be around, right? Think about that person and think about when they get on the phone or come into a room. Do they light up the room? Do they make it all exciting? Do they bring your mood up, or do they bring your mood down? We all know somebody that brings your mood down, right? They walk into the room and it's like, oh, hey, everybody, oh, complaining about it. Now you come into the room and you're all energetic and excited and everything. It just, boom, picks everybody up. So think about the energy and enthusiasm that you have. This is all part of your brand, okay? The level of preparedness, how prepared you are. If you're not prepared, you're going to look unprofessional. If you're rehearsed and you prepare and you're early, you're going to come across as confident and professional. That's really important. The skills, so how much have you practiced your listing presentation? It shows, trust me. So if you haven't practiced and you show up and wing it, it shows that way. People know, they can tell. And lastly is the communication that you have before the listing. This is your pre-listing communication. This is really critical. We're going to talk about this a couple of times. But the question here is, how many times have you spoken to that seller, that person, before presenting? Okay. Have you been able to demonstrate your ability to communicate with them prior to? This is all part of your brand consistency. So let's look at the sales process in general. The sales process is pretty simple, right? You get a lead, then you usually research, do some comparables, you pre-qualify them for pricing and motivation, then you present the information to them. And if you've done the sales process the right way, you take the listing, okay? It doesn't normally happen that you get a lead set an appointment without doing any research. You just say, you don't say, great, I'll come over right away in an hour, and you don't show up with any comparables or anything, and you just take a listing. If that doesn't happen, there's a process that happens. And that's what my point is with this. So if you don't understand the listing process, you're not going to understand how to take listings. And that's what I'm going to talk about first, is the process and how we go through it. So the listing process, this is really one of my favorite things. And I think first of all, what we did is we designed the listing process from scratch. And we did that by first doing this. We think of all the things that are going to happen right from when a lead comes in all the way till you take the listing. So if you were to think right now, okay, I get a listing lead comes in, and maybe it came in over my social media, or maybe it came in over a website, or maybe it was a sign call. What happens next? Well, you're going to have an initial conversation. Now, if you don't know what to say and you go, oh my gosh, yes, you want to list your home. Oh, I'm so excited. Hang on a second, okay? Put them on mute and go, happy dance. and then pick up the phone and go, okay, maybe we should get together and meet, right? So again, if you're not prepared and you don't have a process, it's going to sound off the cuff. It's going to sound unprofessional. What we want to get to is a level of professionalism and a level of service that's consistent with every single listing, so that there's an entire process. I'm going to share with you our process in detail. And I want you to know that anything that I put up that's like a document, I'm going to share that with you afterwards. So you don't have to like try and frantically write those down or screenshot and save them. They're going to be low res on here. So I'll send you to a link that you can download everything. So don't worry about it. Think about it this way. Think about it like Starbucks. When you order a coffee at Starbucks, they've got a process, right? It's not random. So they stand at the till, they've got a certain script that they say, they take your order, they ask you certain questions, what size, etc. And then it goes on, like they write it on a cup, right, with your name on it. And then they hand it over to the barista. The barista then has a certain process that they follow to make that like the recipe. And then they have even right down to like, where does the coffee go when it's done being created? And if you've ever been to like a small mom and pop coffee shop, and they, you know, you're standing maybe at the end because you're used to Starbucks, so you can start at this one end and you kind of come in through the funnel, and then you go out the other end and they have the little counter and you get your coffee. You go to a mom and pop coffee shop and they finish your coffee and they go like, they walk around with your coffee going, who had the latte, right? And it's like, because they don't have a process. And that's why people like Starbucks, is that they feel like they're following a process. It feels much more comfortable. The next step is that I would design a process around each and every step to ensure that consistent service. So this is brainstorming. This is in whatever manner that you want. Now I think visually. And so the first step that I did is I created a flow chart. And I'm going to share with you something. This might kind of be a little, this is literally from 2012 when I created this, but it came from, you know, everything comes from usually something triggers an activity. This came from the frustration of, we were hustling, we were prospecting, lead generating, following up, we were getting listings, but we were inconsistent and we were running around trying to handle listings. And we were in the fortunate position of handling a lot of listings, but not having a process around it. So I said, look, let's design something. So I said, what happens first? A lead sheet is filled out. We give it to the administrator, and we have admin. So you can, you know, I'm going to put this up for everybody at the end, but you can eliminate admin. And so the admin would verify and enter it into our CRM program. Simone's going to contact the client. And what if the seller has objections? Well, we put it over there, and then maybe we have to do this. And so there's all these arrows. It's a big hot mess. And maybe it's even a dead seller, like the lead went dead because no, they're not going to sell, right? Well, then we still follow up every day, and hey, they might actually sign the contract one day, right? So it's all this flow. These are the high level things that happen between when a lead comes in and when you take a listing. So this is the whole process that we use in a nutshell. And then, and what I really want to kind of emphasize here, and I'm going to say this a few times, you can see here that there's a lot of work that actually happens before you take a listing. About 80% of your time and effort and energy, at least, is going to be handled before you actually get the listing signed or you do the presentation. So then I took each step through the process and I broke it down into a more detailed step. This is, again, it's kind of fuzzy and old because it's fuzzy and old. It's a 2012 document. So again, I would get the various forms of leads. And what happens here is I would break it down into such detail that what happens next and who does it. So that everyone on our team, if you have a team with admin staff, everyone knows who needs to do what at what time. And you can see this is like a flow, right? So it starts with a lead, it comes in, you complete a client sheet, which is a lead sheet. It goes to a pre-qualification. And if Simone pre-qualifies, then it goes to a go ahead. Then we would create a file, create a pre-listing package. She would prepare it for review. We would finalize it, send it, right? So there's a whole process that happens here. And the great thing about each one of those is you say, oh, well, you know, we have to create a blue file. So then I'd say, what does a blue file look like? What does the file look like? And each one of these blue areas in here and red areas becomes a task. And you can create a checklist out of this. And if you have a checklist that you follow every single time, you're going to have consistency of service. You're not going to drop the ball. You're going to communicate well with your clients, and you're going to get a lot more leads from your clients because they're going to love going through this system. Okay. But you can see that the listing presentation is like one little tiny part of the entire process. And this document actually has 4 pages because once the listing's signed, it goes into what other steps happen. And I'm going to share all of those with you. So there's going to be lots of value here. So I'm going to turn it over to Simone at this point. So Simone is my wife and partner, and she is an absolute superstar listing agent. She does, in her peak years, was definitely listing over 100 homes a year. She had a 92% listing ratio. That means 92% of the listing appointments that she went on, she took the listing. How would you like that? Instead of going on 5 appointments and only getting 3 listings or less, how would you like to go on 90 listing appointments and get, or 100 listing appointments, get 9 of them? I mean, that's, or 90, I don't know. My math is off a little bit. Anyways, I'm going to pass it on to Simone. Simone, take it away and show us kind of what you did.
Sure. So first of all, thank you everybody for showing up. Pablo, do you have slides for me or no? I just get to go with what I have.
You get to, I'll go through it again afterwards, but yeah, okay. Go ahead.
I got to check with the boss. He might've created a whole bunch of slides and anyways, so what I wanted to, there's a few things that I'll repeat that Pablo has said, but I think the last graphic of all of his flow chart and the structure is really important. You saw that the actual presentation was only one small box. And this is what saved us, saved our marriage possibly, not that our marriage was in trouble, but saved our marriage, saved our family time. It created a life as a real estate agent that we love, okay? So what happened is that as a listing agent, and I only take listings, I don't work with buyers, I don't know how to open a lockbox. I prefer not to know. That's not my job as a listing agent. My job is to go take listings. So by having Pablo, and now you all more or less have the skills of Pablo, he created this amazing system that made me look really good. All I had to do was follow the system and go in and take the listing. So the first key point here is that 90% of everything you're going to do to take a listing is done before you go to the house. And if you get really good, you shouldn't even have to go to the house. And in the day and age of COVID, this works out very well. I don't need to go to a home in order to take the listing. It's a fact. I don't need to see the home. I don't need to meet the people. I have my process. I just need to plug in those sellers into my process. It sounds very cold, but this is business. When there's 10, 12, 14, 16 grand on the line of commission, it's like being a surgeon. You got to go in there and the plan is to take the listing. That's it. And if you don't have that mindset, if you're going in, oh, I hope I get it, or maybe I'll get it, or, oh, it'd be nice if I get it, you've already lost. You have to focus on taking listings as this is what's going to make the life I love. This is how I'm going to achieve my goals. So when I had an opportunity to work with a seller and sell their home, I knew it was go time. So the process was, for me, and I'm just going from my head because it's so ingrained in my head. Basically, Pablo showed you some of the flow charts, but basically the system and the whole process, like I said, is 90% on the front end, 10% when you go to the home. Now that we're in this COVID day and age, you can use Zoom. So wherever I say attending the appointment or setting the appointment, that would be setting a Zoom call with the potential seller. Okay, so I wouldn't go to a home, and right now I wouldn't go and attend a home and sit with a seller right now, because I know I don't have to. I know that I won't need to. They don't need to be with me. I don't need to be with them. Let's just get it done over Zoom. How does that sound, right? So the first step is basically the lead comes in. Priscilla will either get the lead, or I'll get the lead through a phone call or a message or a web lead. And my first step is I always pop into Matrix, which is our MLS system in Calgary. I'll pop into Matrix and I'll look up the address really quick, and I'll just see when the last time that property was sold. Then when I have an indication of that property and where it is, so for example, if I go in and type in the address and it's in an area that I don't normally service. So for example, maybe it's way up past a small town in Calgary up north. My first thought is, am I going to even move any further on this potential seller? Because that might just be an instant referral. I might decide it's not worth my time, I'm going to refer them out. So step one is just to have a really quick indication of who I'm dealing with, what kind of house it is. Priscilla, my assistant, would normally be the one that would do that quick search for me and send me the name of the lead, their phone number, their email, and then a quick old agent view from the MLS. Then my next step is I need to get an indication of whether this is a bona fide seller or not. Okay, so this is the key, one of the key steps in the listing process. And if you skip this step, don't bother going to their house on a presentation. Don't bother, because you're wasting your time. You might as well be with your husband or your wife or your kids or doing yoga or doing something else. If you haven't pre-qualified your seller and determined that they're a bona fide, motivated seller, don't go. It's that simple. So you see, I take all these steps pretty seriously, because I mean, I don't know about you guys, but 10, 12, 14 grand, that's serious business for me. I want that. So the key step that I'm talking about is the pre-qualification. So I have a script, and Pablo's going to put this in the download, so you don't need to worry about copying it, but it's a 2-page script. It has 22 questions. It doesn't feel like it when I ask them. It's more of a conversation, but it has 22 key questions. I ask 100% of these questions 100% of the time. This is how I determine if they're motivated, if they're bona fide, if I can help them, if they want to be helped. This right here is the gold. If they pass this test, and you see the language I'm using, they have to go through my system. They have to meet my criteria. I'm not running out like a crazy woman, hoping and praying that they're going to list with me. If they get to list with me, they're so lucky, because 98% of my listings sell. Okay, so this is the attitude you have to start to get in your head. Okay, and this comes with experience and practice and victories, right, and failures. But this is the kind of attitude that, Mr. Seller, I am so happy you called me, because I am 100% confident I get your home sold. Would you like to be moved to Vancouver by June? Great, you are talking to the right person. That's the kind of language that you have to start using. So the pre-qualification, it's basically an initial phone call with your lead, with your seller lead, to determine whether you're gonna go out and attend an appointment. So you would have already set an appointment. So it would go like this. Hi, I'll use Pablo as the seller, potential seller. Hi, Pablo, it's Simone. I just wanted to connect with you today. Are we still planning to get your home listed and sold on Thursday at 4 p.m.? And Pablo would say,
yeah, I think we are. Yeah.
great. So Pablo, before I come out, there's a number of questions I need to ask you. Do you have time to do that right now?
Sure. This is a good time.
Awesome. So Pablo, if what I say makes sense and you feel comfortable and confident that I can sell your home, are you planning to list your home with me today at 4 o'clock?
Well, I'd like to hear what you have to say. I mean, we are interviewing a couple of agents.
Oh, okay, great. So you're interviewing a couple agents, and what agents are you going to be interviewing?
You know, I'd rather not say.
Oh, yeah, no problem. And when are you interviewing them?
They're going to be coming after you.
Oh, okay, great. So no problem. After we meet at 4 o'clock, you'll probably just want to cancel those appointments. So no worries.
I love your
Awesome.
confidence.
So tell me again, Pablo, where are you moving to?
We're moving to Vancouver.
Vancouver. Oh my gosh, they already have flowers in their pots, hey?
Oh, I know. I can't wait.
Isn't that amazing? And how soon do you have to be there?
Well, my job transfer is for May. So we're getting, you know, I've got to be there in May, and then, you know, at least we'll have the house empty at that time.
Okay, great. So you have a job transfer, you have to be there in May. Now, if you were to get there at the beginning of May, would that be a problem?
Like have the house sold at the beginning of
Yeah,
May.
yeah, get it on the market, get it sold, all
That
done
would
by
be
the
fine. Like
beginning
we
of May.
need
Is that a
maybe a
problem?
week or two to clean it up, but
Okay, perfect. So what would happen, Pablo, if your home doesn't sell?
I don't know. Maybe I'd have to rent it out or something.
Oh, okay, so you think you might rent it out? And is that something you want to be a landlord? Is that what you're kind of planning?
Not at all. No, I don't. I don't want to do that. I don't know. I guess I just thought if my home doesn't sell, I don't really have any options other than that.
Okay, so it sounds like your top plan is to get it sold. Is that right?
Yeah, ideally we'd get it sold.
Okay, I'm going to write that down. We got to get your house sold. Does not want to be a landlord. Okay, perfect. Now, when I see you today at 4 o'clock, how much do you want to list your home for?
I was hoping you'd tell me. You're the expert, right?
Well, yeah, I list homes, sell and list homes all the time. And I assume that when you list your home with me, you'll set it at a price that will cause it to sell. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give it away either, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't want to give it away either. I am not in the business of giving it away. You know, in my business, 76% of all my business is repeat and referral because I usually get people top dollar for their home. Isn't that fun? I'd like to work with you on that. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay, perfect. Now, Pablo, what price won't you go below?
You know, well, at about 700,000, I don't think I can go below that.
Okay, so 700,000, and the market is very challenging right now, both with the oil prices and with our crisis we're having. So I haven't looked at your property yet, and I haven't done the research, but if it came in around 650, are you still kind of thinking you may want to sell it, or are you stuck on 700?
Well, I never thought it'd be worth only that, but I do understand that there's things going on in the market. I mean, we could sell it that low, but that really wouldn't be a great option for us.
Yeah, that would hurt, hey?
It would.
Yeah. And how much do you own the property right now?
We owe about 400 on it.
Wow, 400. Congratulations. That's a lot of equity we need to protect, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And have you ever thought of selling it yourself?
No, no time for that.
No, I don't blame you. Right now, I'm just taking care of my kids and I got to feed my husband and all that kind of stuff. So I'm sure you got lots going on as well, right? And do you have any plans on playing the bank and maybe financing a buyer?
No, we would need the cash out to buy our place in Vancouver.
Okay, I'm going to write that down too. So we definitely want to get all of your equity out, every penny of your equity, and get you to Vancouver with it, okay?
Yeah.
Good. So before I called you, I happened to pull up your old listing from 2015, Have you made any big changes to your home since 2015 when you bought it?
Yeah, we re-landscaped the backyard, redid the flooring and the upper levels, and we put in a new bar in the basement.
Okay, so new landscaping, a bar, and any mechanical stuff or windows, roof, furnace?
New hot water tank. It was time for that.
Okay, good. And on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like complete show home, ready for TV, and 1 kind of a hoarder, where would you rate yourself as far as what the condition of your home is?
It's about an 8 out of 10. We're pretty clean. There's a few things we need to put away, but we're pretty clean.
Okay, awesome. Love that. Perfect. And do you have any plans to do anything to the home? You said you had a few things to do before we get it on the market. What do you have?
Well, just putting away we've got a lot of extra clutter that we need to put away. So we were thinking of using the garage as storage and just putting everything in the garage that isn't needed for the sale.
Great
Do you
idea.
do like home staging or anything like that?
Yeah, and I'll talk to you about all of that, the home staging. You know, would you do me a favor, just because I can't pop out there today, could you do me a favor and take maybe 5 or 10 photos and just pop them off to me in an email?
Yeah, sure. I can do that. No problem.
Okay. What I'm going to do when we get off the phone, I'm going to send you an email and then you just have to reply to it with your photos. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Perfect. Now, is there any reason, Pablo, why you wouldn't sell this home?
No.
No. So it sounds like we're going to get your home on the market, right?
Yeah, it's got to sell.
Okay, perfect. Now, Pablo, I'm going to be sending over a package of information. I'll have that delivered to your home. Are you going to be home in the next couple hours?
We're not going anywhere.
Perfect. So the package is going to contain a little bit of information about myself and my team, a full market analysis, and a listing contract completely filled in for you to review and look at. Will you have time to look at that before we meet at 4 o'clock?
Yeah, no problem. We can review it.
Okay, perfect. Now, do you have any questions before I arrive?
Yeah, what do you charge for a sale?
Oh, great question. So, you know, I'm going to write that down. The fees are going to be one of the first things that we'll talk about when I see you at 4 o'clock. Is that okay?
Yeah, like is it standard or is it?
Yeah. You know, we're going to make sure that the fees work out for you and for me, and we'll talk about that first thing when I show up. Okay?
Okay.
Good. Anything else? Any other questions?
No, I think that was the only one that my wife had.
Okay, perfect. Oh, so your wife, and your wife's name is that Cindy?
Cindy.
All right, so good. You know, our meeting is only going to take between 5 and 25 minutes. Is that okay with you?
That's great.
Good. And I look forward to seeing you and Cindy to get you one step closer to Vancouver when I see you today at 4 o'clock. One last thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you happen to have an extra set of keys and a copy of your survey or your real property report that you can have out?
Yeah, we can definitely have a set of keys. Survey, I'll have to double check if we have one.
Okay, so usually you'll find it in your lawyer package from when you bought it. You might have that tucked in a drawer. If you find it, that'd be perfect. Just have that out for me too, okay?
Okay.
Good. So I look forward to seeing you at 4 o'clock, and the package will be arriving at your door probably in the next hour or two.
Okay, I look forward to it. Thanks, Simone.
Okay, talk to you soon. Bye now.
Bye.
Click. Okay, so I had to go through the whole thing because this shows you, it usually takes between 8 and 12 minutes, this whole thing. It's not a chatty chit chat thing. Hey, how are you doing? How are your kids? None of that. This is, do you have time? I have some very important questions I need to ask, and you get into the questions. Okay, I didn't skip one of the questions. Sometimes I'm tempted to skip, are you interviewing any other agents? Sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't need to know if they're interviewing other agents. And when I don't ask the question, that's the thing that'll burn me, is that I don't realize that they're actually interviewing someone else either right before me or right after me, or they absolutely are going to interview someone that they're going to wait for on Saturday. Okay, so you got to ask every single question. So that's great. Now, the scenario I painted there was that I was going to meet him Thursday at 4 p.m., which is today at 4 p.m.
Hey, Simone, sorry to interrupt, but we just have a quick question before you move on.
Yep.
Matt would like to know, why don't you explain the fee or discuss the fees over the phone?
Yeah, so I don't handle any objections over the phone. every time you speak to your potential seller, you're trying to pull what the objections are out of them, and you will address those. So you're going to find out through that pre-qual and your next phone calls, you're going to find out all their objections. You're going to learn everything about them, and you can have that all covered when you meet with them on Zoom or at their house. Okay? Never, ever, ever handle objections over the phone. What are your fees? Oh, you're going to love my fees. It's going to be so great. We're going to make you so much money to go to Vancouver with a ton of equity. That's the plan. How does that sound? Okay, so never handle objections.
Thanks.
So let's just pretend, okay, so this is a really tough, tight timeline, okay, with this particular person. Let's just say it's a 24-hour. I know I put it really tight, but let's say I'm meeting Pablo 24 hours later. So I just did my pre-qual. Okay, so say it's Thursday, 1 p.m., and say my presentation is scheduled for tomorrow, Friday at 4 p.m., or my Zoom call. So my next goal is to take all of the answers, and as I was asking, I'm writing down the answers. And in my office, when I hand this to my assistant, if everything is not filled in, she won't go to step 2. She'll push back on me. So if I don't have this done, I don't get my assistant's help, okay? That's the rules we've set up. So what happens next is now I have to decide from the conversation, is that seller someone that I can help? Is that seller someone that I'm willing to work with? Are they reasonable? Are they motivated? Is it going to be a waste of time or not? That's all coming from that pre-qual.
What might be an example of a seller that you wouldn't want to work with?
Well, remember I had the old agent view pulled up prior, and Pablo said he wants to list his house at 700. And if I have the old agent view from 2015 and he bought it for 525 and he hasn't done any major renovations, I'm going to have to either call him back, and the callback call is ring, ring.
Hello?
Hi, Pablo, it's Simone calling. Do you have a quick minute?
Yes, yeah, no problem.
Great. You know, I was doing my research after our last call, and I just noticed that I think I wrote down that you said that you want to list your home at 700. Is that right?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
700 is reasonable.
Okay, so
Well, actually, I didn't want to go below 700, so I was thinking, you know, I was hoping to hear your opinion, but I was thinking somewhere in the 730, 740 range would be reasonable.
oh, okay, interesting, because I'm pulling your old agent view and I see you purchased it for 525. Is that a mistake or is that correct?
No, that's correct, but I got a really good deal on it.
Oh, okay, good. Congratulations. That's really great. So I'm just wondering, you haven't made any other renovations to the house?
No, just those ones that I mentioned to you, but the bar downstairs is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It's on another level.
Okay.
Got a keg
No,
built into it with the beer that comes out from the fridge. It's
right.
next level.
That's really awesome. So, you know, what I'm looking at right now, and especially given the market, I'm looking at 700,000 versus the 2015 pricing. And, you know, I just don't think I can help you achieve what you're looking for. You know, I think what we have to be really clear on your being realistic with your pricing. If we could get you in the 500s, would that be a consideration for you, or are you out?
Well, no, that would be really low. I think, there was a house that sold in my community for $800,000. It wasn't even as nice as mine.
Yeah, I understand. So, you know, I think probably the best bet here is either you wait a couple years and maybe you do become a landlord for a couple years, maybe 2, 3, 5, 10 years, and then maybe your house will increase in value enough and then you can get that 700. Or the other suggestion is that we look in somewhere in that 500 might be a little bit more reasonable. What do you think?
Well, and for some context for everyone else here who has been in different markets than we have, the home prices haven't really changed. And if anything, they've gone down since 2015. So that's why Simone's saying this, because other people might be like, well, it's completely normal. It's 2015 and now it's 2020. It's 5 years. But in
Right.
our market, it hasn't really gone up.
So what do you want to do, Pablo? Should we just maybe put our appointment on hold and you can think about it and talk to Cindy?
Sure.
Yeah, I think that's good.
You know
Okay,
what's going to happen? He's going to have two other agents come through and they're going to say, well, I think it should be around 500,000, but we'll list it at 750 and we'll give it a shot, right?
Yeah, you always want to be the third agent in on a down market. Okay, so you let Pablo go down his Fantasyland trail with Cindy at 700. You let some other agent that has no clue what they're doing take the listing at 700 and it'll expire. Okay, and then you let another agent go in there and take it at a high price and let it expire. You want to be the third agent in a down market because they're going to be so beat up and they're going to be willing to list it at whatever price you tell them. They're like, please help me. Okay, Pablo and I were fortunate. We were so fortunate. We got the education of 2009, 10, and 11, and 12, the down market. We got the education in the late 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 in Calgary. And now we're being hit with the third gift, another down market. The agents that make money in a down market are listing agents. Okay, so let me finish up here because I know Pablo has more content. So we've done the pre-qual. This, again, this is going to be, if you're looking at 100% of the process, this is at least worth 50%. You've got to do 100% of the questions 100% of the time. Number two, so remember, Pablo and I we're scheduled to meet tomorrow at 4 p.m. So I'm doing my research. I found out, oh my gosh, the pricing is a little off. I phone them. I dump them, like I cancel the appointment, okay, I'm out. I've just saved an hour of my assistant's life. I've saved an hour or an hour and a half of my life, and I've saved the pain for that potential seller to go through a price that they'll never be able to get, okay? So the second most important thing that I'm just gonna go through is the number of times that you touch your seller in between the pre-qualification and actually attending the appointment. So my coach, he always taught us that you wanted to always follow up with them once. So what I would do is say Pablo's on track. He says he wants 700. I go on my computer. Remember I said, if it came out to be 650, would you still want to sell the house? And he I dropped a little bit of a $50,000 bomb on him. Did you hear that, right? He said 700 and I went super low and said, if it's 650, do you still want to go ahead? So I have him down to 650 already, okay? So, and I'm just planting the seed. Maybe his house is worth 700. I'm not gonna list it at 650 if it's worth 700, but I've already got him thinking, oh my gosh, it might only be 650. So I do my research, I do the market analysis, I look at the pricing and boom, oh my gosh, he's right. He says he wants to get 700. I look at it. I think it should be listed at 680. This is a bona fide seller. I can work with this guy. Okay. We're close enough that I think I can actually help him. You need to be pricing property at least 5 to 10% below market price. And when you're looking at market price right now, don't go anything further back than 90 days. Okay, you're going to be in a little weird place here between April and May, because it's going to be hard to find proper comparables. Once we're in May, we can use April's numbers. And you're going to think, oh yeah, but nothing sold in April. Right. That's how you got to price the property, that nothing sold in April. You can't go back to January. And if you do, you got to really bring the price down. Okay, makes sense?
So when it comes to pricing in today's market, how are you pricing homes differently now than you would have pre-COVID?
Oh my God. I learned this when we went through the oil collapse in 2014, 15, 16. You got to be at least 15 to 20% ahead of the market as far as pricing. Our pricing, mark my words, is going to continue to drop over the next 6 to 24 months. It's going to keep dropping. So you need to be, if you list a property today, you need to be at a price 6 months from now. Okay, so look at like October. So if the pricing is starting to do this and you take the listing here, you need to price it here because days in the market are going to go up, right? It's going to take a lot longer to get something sold. You need to be number 1 or number 2 as far as pricing compared to any of the comparables. If you're not placed first or second as far as pricing, don't waste your time. Be the third agent in. Okay. So back to the process. So I've done the pre-qual. Now it's the package. So I've got my listing presentation package. And what I'll do is I'll just hold it up. And I think you're going to take photos of this later, Pablo?
Yeah, I'll send out some pictures afterwards of our pre-listing package.
Okay. So basically what we've done, and Pablo actually has, if there's any EXP agents, Pablo has generic folders that look like this that say EXP. You're welcome to contact us if you want to get 10 or 20 of them or however many. He bought a bulk amount of generic folders. So that's what my folder looks like. I think, how much does this folder cost us, Pablo?
In my bulk pricing, it's around a little over $2.
Okay.
Retail normally like $5-6 if you order them in low quantity.
Okay, so this is all they get. Okay, so basically when they go, this package is placed. Let me just show you the whole thing so you have an idea. I'm going to start. It's a rainy day, the day it's going to get delivered. So we have this bag, this envelope bag. Okay, it's a rainy day, so we use one of these. And we have a Dymo printer, label printer that gets a label on it with the person's name. The package gets either couriered or hand delivered, not by me. I don't deliver pre-listing packages. I'm a listing agent. I'm not a delivery person. Okay. Even if you don't have any listings, pay for a courier to drop off your listing package. You don't want to talk to the seller at the door. You don't want to go in their house. Okay. Pay for it to get delivered. They'll think, wow, she's good or he's good. Look at, they used a courier. Okay. Step 2 is in the weatherproof envelope is the nice envelope. These are from Staples. We have our label, And then of course, Pablo with his marketing, this is gold. It's just a little seal. It's a sticker he puts on. And we don't seal it. This is like a peel and stick seal. We just seal it with our sticker. So it's nice and easy for them to open. Okay. And then when they open it, they pull out the package and this is what they get. And they're getting this before I show up to their house. They're getting all of the information that they need to make an informed decision to hire me. Okay. Now think about the other agents that they're interviewing. Agent number 2 and 3 that they're going to cancel later. They're not sending this. They're going to maybe do a 2-step listing process where they show up once to see the house and then they go back and then they come back again. And it's like a long drawn out thing. So inside the package is pretty simple. On this side, this is the contract side. So I'll just pull it out really quick. It's pretty important. So here's a copy of our contract and all disclosure documents. Okay. It's marked up with the recommended list price filled in. Okay. The seller's name filled in. All the included items, fridge, stove, washer, dryer, circle stamps where they're going to initial. Okay, the whole thing is 100% filled in.
Your fees?
Pardon me?
Your fees are in there, page 2?
Yep, the fee page. I charge a little bit more than the standard fees in Calgary. Why? Because I'm worth it. Because I do a good job. I'm going to get it done for them. Right? It's a confidence thing. So everything is marked up and you'll see when and then on the last pages, every single document is here. And the last page is where they have to sign, right? The sign here, tab is there, everything's there. So that's the listing contract. And then back to the package, in front of the listing contract is the market analysis, a very abbreviated version of the market analysis. There's a pen, there's a notepad, that's just fluff. You don't, I guess it looks pretty, right? Look at this. This is the best. It's a key envelope. I'm telling them, this is where you're gonna give me your key when I see you tomorrow at 4 o'clock.
That's called a presumptive close.
Yeah, it's just, you can get these at Staples, tiny little envelope, says keys on it. I've shown up and at the kitchen table, they have their key in my envelope. It's a done deal. You know how fun that is? And then the other thing that Pablo has created is, look at this. This is like, this little paperclip has made me $10,000 over and over again. It's just some fancy, you get it at the logo type printer places. It's this tiny little weird paperclip, and it has our name engraved on it. People have said to me, if you can put that much attention to detail on your paperclip, I know you're the agent for me. I haven't even done anything yet, and I'm selling them. Okay. So I would say between the key envelope, the listing contract completely filled in, and then the CMA, right, the market analysis. And then on this side, this is all pre-printed stuff that we created about our team, our listing plan of action, and then a sample brochure at the back here. Okay. Now the listing plan of action is, and again, Pablo said that we'll share all this, I think, right, Pab? This is a 19-step listing plan of action. I don't need to discuss all this with them. They're going to see it all when they get the package. I don't need to blah, 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 what I'm going to do when I see you. I'm there to get their signatures and leave. Okay? They're going to know what I'm going to do for them. It's all here. It's so much fun. So this is the package that gets delivered to their door or dropped into their mailbox or hand delivered by the courier. And this is the package that contains everything that they're going to need in order to make a decision to list their home with me. Now comes the next magic. So the first magic was the pre-qual. The second point, the second bullet is this awesome package. If this takes you a month to prepare or to create, I'll say, and put together, and we can help you with this. If this takes you a month to put together and create, and it makes you hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars through, I've been using this since 2014. You create it once and you never, like, we've made tweaks along the years, but then you're done. This is.
And we have these pre-made in our file cabinet. So there's pre-listing packages, all pre-made, all put together so that when you get a listing call like Simone did, you don't have to run around and put this all together. You've got 10 of them ready and made. And that becomes your goal as well, is that I want to get all 10 of these out to sellers, right?
Right. Okay, so that's number 2 is the listing package. Then the third thing, which I think is the most important thing, other than the pre-qual, I'd say that's the first one because that decides whether I'm going to go or not. The next thing is going to be all the follow-up calls that I make between the time when they receive the package and the time of my listing appointment. So I generally will call that client, realistically, I'll say between 3 and 6 times if the appointment is 24 hours out. Okay, and this is how the call goes. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi, Pablo, it's Simone calling. How are you?
Oh, good, Simone, how are you?
Good. I just got a notification that the package was delivered to your house about an hour ago. Did you receive it okay?
Yeah, we got it. Thank you.
Perfect. Did you have a chance to look at it yet?
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, really gorgeous. Yeah, we had a read through it. I think pretty self-explanatory.
Oh, great. Well, that's so great. I'm so glad you had a chance. Now, do you have any questions? Anything at all that came up as you guys looked through it?
Yeah, well, I noticed your fees were in there and it seems a little high from what I've seen in the market. And I was talking to another agent who was offering that, if he has an agent in Vancouver, if we use that agent, then he would give us a discount on our listing. So I'm wondering if that's something that you would look at too.
Wow, interesting. So you have an agent in Vancouver that's going to be a discount agent for you here?
No, the agent that we were talking to here, because we're talking to two other agents,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he said if I use his friend in Vancouver to buy, then he could give me a discount on my selling fees here.
Oh, I see. Okay. So it sounds like, the fees and the amount of equity that you pull out of your sale is really important. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I understand. I'd be the exact same way. I've just highlighted this whole thing about fees. So we are absolutely going to talk about that tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Good. Anything else? And did Cindy have a chance to look at it?
Yeah, Cindy and I have talked about it together and everything looks good. I mean, the price that you recommended seems low to us, but I'd like to hear why you think that.
Yeah, sure. We'll go through the price and the fees tomorrow. Okay. And if there's nothing else, or is there only those two things?
I saw in there that you had like 8-month listing term. Is it going to take that long or?
Gosh, I hope not. But in this market, generally, I used to always take listings for about 6 months. And in this market, usually it's 12. So I've only put 8 on yours.
Okay, I understand. Well, hopefully we can get it sold sooner.
Yep, we will. Don't worry. When I show up, we're gonna get the plan laid out and we're gonna go. Okay?
Okay, thanks.
Good. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Click. Okay, so now I know fees, commissions. That's all he cares about, which is most people, right? And he's still talking about these other agents. I got to get these other agents off his mind. So now, so that was the day before. It's a couple hours after I know he got the package. Now it's the evening of the same day. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi, Pablo. It's Simone calling again. Do you have a quick minute?
Sure thing. Yeah, no problem.
Good. I was thinking about our conversation that we had earlier today, and I just want to get clarity on your actual move date to Vancouver.
I have to be there for May 1st. My wife
Okay.
is going to stick around for a couple of weeks and just get the home kind of whatever needs to happen for market. She's probably going to come out the first week of May.
Okay, good. Okay, that's what I had written down. I just wanted to make sure. And have you and Cindy, has there been anything else that's come up? Any other questions?
No, I think we're looking forward to hearing what you have to say.
Good. And if everything that I say makes sense and you feel comfortable and confident that I can sell your home, are you planning to list with me tomorrow at 4 o'clock?
Well, we've been impressed so far. We did commit to talk to two other agents, so we'll see how that goes too.
Right. And you didn't want to tell me who those agents were, right?
Well, one of them's a friend of ours he's just got into the business, and I kind of want to help him out a little bit, but I'm not too
Oh,
confident in his ability.
yeah.
And the
Okay.
other one is a guy who does, he's kind of been a local specialist for a long time. So we want to hear
Oh.
what he has to say because he knows these houses and these values.
So, and locals, what's his name? I know most of them.
Gordon.
Gordon.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know any Gordons in the neighborhood. Okay, well, no problem. Anyways, I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow to get your house on the market. We're going to get it sold. Let's get you to Vancouver, okay?
Okay, sounds
All
good.
right, okay, bye. Click.
Bye.
All right, so that's 2 calls. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Oh, it's the next morning. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi, good morning, Pablo. It's Simone calling.
Oh my God, I've been drinking all night. I'm just kidding.
All right, do you want me to call you later?
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
Okay, no problem. I just confirming that we're still on for 4 o'clock. You and Cindy, you'll both be there. Is that right?
Yep, for sure we'll be here.
Okay, good. Well, look forward to seeing you at 4 o'clock.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Click. So that's 3 calls. And now I'm in my car on my way to go see them. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi, Pablo. It's Simone. I'm just in my car. Sorry for all the noise. I just want to make sure. Are you guys still on schedule for 4 o'clock? Did anything come up? Do you need
You know
more
what?
time?
We're just trying to get my daughter settled here. Would you mind like 15 minutes later?
No, no problem. That actually works perfect for me. So should we say 4:15 then?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so we'll see you at 4:15.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, bye. Click.
Bye.
Perfect, right? Did I want to walk into the house at 4 o'clock when their kid's going crazy? No, right? So you want to make sure that they're set for your appointment. You want to make sure the husband or the wife has come home from work and that they're ready for you. So I'm in my car. What I do is I am always around the corner from the house 15 minutes before my appointment time. Not 10 minutes, not 5 minutes before, 15 minutes. I sit in my car, I crank my music, I make sure I don't have anything in my teeth, I make sure my hair is okay, and I kink my mirror and I say, I'm gonna take this listing, I'm gonna price it to sell, and I'm gonna get it sold. I'm gonna take this listing, I'm gonna price it to sell, and I'm gonna get it sold. I'm gonna take this listing, I'm gonna price it to sell, and I'm gonna get it sold. There's 15 grand on the line for me here. Okay, this is not a small deal. Okay, this is what I do. I'm gonna take this listing, I'm gonna price it to sell, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna take this listing, I'm gonna price it to sell, I'm gonna get it sold. As I'm walking up to the door, okay, so usually in that last 5 minutes, I'll leave my car, okay, I'll drive around the front. So usually around 26, if the appointment's at, the half hour, 4 minutes before, I'll get out of my car, I'll walk. I only carry, this is a good example, I carry a folder. I don't bring my purse in, ladies. I carry a folder, something like this, or it's got a zipper on it, right? Something like that. I only carry this. I have my cell phone in there because I might need it for my calculator. I have a red pen, I have a highlighter, and I have 3 or 4 pens. It's all in my little zipper folder. And I walk in. I don't need my purse to take a listing. I don't need this big bag that I throw down and all that. I don't need to think about my purse. So
and
I
you've
just
got that
take
listing information form.
Yeah, and I have one sheet of paper, which is the listing information form, which Pablo will post for you guys as well. And what it is, so it's a single sheet of paper. So I basically take in the listing information form. I know already they have the contract docs in their house because I delivered it to their house. And usually during one of my calls, I'll say, oh, and make sure you have that listing package on your kitchen table as well, okay? So I know they already have the contract. I don't bring an extra copy. The only time I bring an extra copy is if I deliver the package to their office and I'm not certain that they're gonna have the contract when I go and meet them at their house, okay? But I bring a sheet of paper. It's called the seller information form. And then I bring also a copy of the market analysis. And it's a very abbreviated copy just for me. And I use that only when I'm in my car. I re-look at the comps in a very summarized format. So I walk in, I walk up the stairs, I see the doorbell, I ring the doorbell and I stand there like Wonder Woman, okay, because that matters. You can't stand there all frumpy. You're like, shoulders back and, you've already checked yourself out, you look good, and you ring the doorbell and they open up the door and I say, hi, Mr. Seller. I am so happy to meet you. This is the first, we feel like best friends because I've already talked to him so many times. I'm so happy to meet you. I can't wait to get your house on the market and get it sold. Are you ready to do this? And I stand there and I nod my head and then he's nodding. He can't help it. He's nodding his head. So the moment I see some kind of a positive response, I say, it just seems like we should just let's go right to the kitchen table and deal with all this paperwork. Let's get the paperwork out of the way and let's go through this and get all your questions answered and move forward. I haven't even stepped foot in their house yet. Sometimes I stand at the door and I say, are we gonna do this? And they say, yes. And I say, okay, let's go sign papers. Okay, I don't need to see their house. They already said yes, I don't need to backtrack. So anyways, we go to the kitchen table. This happens usually 8 out of 10 times where I go from the door, I kick my shoes off, and I go to the kitchen table. And then the kitchen table, all we're gonna talk about is price and commissions. It's gonna be very quick. And there's a 1-minute listing presentation, which is when I get the indication at the door that they're actually gonna list with me. That's called a 1-minute listing presentation, because I basically get them to the kitchen table and we go through the pricing very quickly and then the fees. The other listing presentation, I'm going to need to use my comparative market analysis and go through the comparables with them. And there's another whole script that goes with that. Okay. If I'm at the door or taking my shoes off and I glance over the table and I can see keys or the survey on their table, they're listing with me. I don't need to worry about who else they're interviewing. I know I go in it with, we're doing this, right? Right. And then we list. Generally, after I finish the paperwork, I may or may not go for a tour of their house, because what I do is I have a system set up where my assistant is the one that loads the listing. So she'll eventually come and meet the seller and she'll go through the house with them. But I might do a quick little boot through, but I never have the seller with me when I look at the house. I don't need the seller to tour me around their house. I just need to, I want to see it through the eyes of a buyer, and I explain that to them. It's best that I just be able to see it from my perspective, and then we can talk about anything that needs to get done. So that's the end of the listing process. I don't take listings that won't sell. Okay, it's a waste of everybody's time and money. I won't deal with people that I don't think I can help. And I think the biggest thing is, we asked our coach way back in 2013, we were doing some really great business, and he goes like, I don't get it with you guys. Like, I don't know how you're doing all this business. And he was our coach. He went and asked another couple coaches that knew us, and he came back to us. He goes, we figured it out. He said, it's your energy and your enthusiasm. That's why you guys are so successful. I mean, I'm not good at presenting market stats. I'm not good at presenting comparables, but will my energy and enthusiasm trump everything? Every time, every single time.
So one of the important distinctions that I wanted to mention here for people is, did you see one thing that was distinctly lacking from Simone's presentation? And I'll give you the answer that I'm thinking of. It's lacking a presentation, right? It doesn't have the traditional flip chart or the iPad. And first, let me tell you about my company. Let me tell you about me. And here's all my awards. Here's all the listings that I sold in the last year. Here's all this stuff about me. And you know, you're sitting on one side of the table and they're yawning on the other side of the table as you're flipping through this 100-page document that has all of the accolades about you and your company and your track record and all these things. You've sent that all to them. If they have any questions about it, they can ask you. But really what people want to know is, what price should we price our home at? And do I feel that you can sell my home? Right, Simone?
Yep, that's it. So I think that's it for me. I know I went over time, sorry, Pablo, but
yeah, no problem.
I think it's between the pre-qual, the package, creating a nice package, which again, we can help you with, and then the questions and the confidence, the energy and enthusiasm. That I would summarize it to those 4 things.
Awesome. So who wants to learn how to do all that? One of the caveats here, and I was just messaging with one of the people on here who said, he replicated this or kind of created his own listing package like this. And he said, it took me a month to do this. And I said, that's great. It took me 6 months to do this. So just know that this may be overwhelming. It's going to take some time. It takes effort. Like, remember, I was going through the structure and all the things you have to create. You have to be patient with this process. But once you create it once, you just plug into it. You plug people into it. I always said it's kind of like a machine. You're building a machine. And in the input of the machine, you put in a lead and it goes through the machine and it comes out a listing ticket, right? So you just follow the process every single time. Don't skip any of the steps. So I'm going to go back to the screen share here really quick. And I'm going to go through all of the wonderful steps of this. It's like a 10-step listing process. So step number 1 is you get a new lead, okay? Now, when we get a new lead, there is a form that we use, and I call it a seller lead sheet. You call it whatever you want. On the seller lead sheet, you notice the one thing it doesn't say at the top is lead sheet, because if you're ever sitting with your client and they look down at your piece of paper and it says lead sheet, It's like, oh, great, I'm a lead. That sounds tacky. So it just says people I'm going to help next. That was a little hint that we got from someone and we loved it. So we changed our lead sheet to people we're going to help next. And you know, this lead could be from the prospecting you're doing, a sign call, your social media. You fill out the lead sheet on ours, and I'm going to share this with you at the end. It's got the personality type that we believe that the seller or the lead is, their names, their contact information, the source, where did this lead come from? And then it's got a date and notes. And what that is that's your communication log. So you're going to log how many times you're talking to that lead, because not everybody is just I'm thinking of selling my house. Great, let's meet tomorrow. Okay, bam, we're done. Sometimes it's like you've been talking to a lead and you're kind of building it and building it. And it's taken 3 or 4 weeks of communication back and forth to actually get them to the point where they're going to sell their house. So you can log your communications with that step. Step number 2 is information gathering. Now, printed on the back of the lead sheet is this incoming seller lead. Now, what this is essentially a script for if you get a sign call, you get a new seller lead, anything like that, you use this side of the sheet and it's great. You've called the right place. Who am I speaking with, right? Have you worked with us in the past? Yes, no. What's the address of the property? Do you live at the property or is it vacant? So this is like the initial questions that you can go through. There's 13 different questions here just to get the basic information on a lead, right? Now, because it's on the back of the form for convenience, it's really easy to just have these pre-printed. We just had double-sided prints hanging out in our office. And if somebody called in a whim, we could just grab one, okay? One key distinction here, if you have a team, if you have an administrator, and your administrator takes the lead, your admin can actually go through all these questions. So Priscilla on our team, she would go through and ask all these questions and gather the information and then call up Simone and say, you've got a new seller lead, here's all the information. It's what a wonderful way to do that, right? Now, these questions really make you sound professional because you've got a process. You're asking questions and you're putting people through a process like Starbucks. It's more comfortable. Step 3 is you set an appointment. I try and give myself a day or two. Remember Simone at the beginning was like, well, I'll see you today at 4 o'clock. I'll have the package out by 2 o'clock. It's a little bit of a rush. You know, I usually say, great, I'm going to prepare. I'm going to do some research for you and I'm going to determine the home's value. Would Monday or Tuesday work better for you? Monday. Great. Would 2 o'clock or 6 o'clock work better for you? See how I guided them right into a time that works for me? Not what time should we meet and all of that. I'm guiding them into a spot in my appointment book that is actually available. Okay. Now, sometimes if the seller is like really, really hot and you know that they're going to list right away, you may just go right into the pre-qual script and just go right into the listing process right away. But most of the time, give yourself a day or two. Okay. Let me just bring up the chat here. I noticed that there's a couple of questions coming in.
Yeah, I've been checking it. It's fine.
Okay, Simone's on it. God, great. So the pre-qual, as Simone mentioned, never, ever, ever miss this step. Don't skip it. Okay, this will save you time and energy, and it's going to completely eliminate your chances of going to the unmotivated sellers. And we've all been to those appointments where you show up and they're like, this is the call I had the other day. Hi, I'd like to get a value on our house. Great. You know, you're thinking to yourself, great, you know, a new listing lead, and you get all excited. I started asking some questions and I went through this, right? You know, if you sell this home, where are you going to move to? Oh, we're not selling. We just need it for insurance purposes. Well, okay. You know, if I didn't ask questions, it'd be like, get all excited and book an appointment and go there, right? So number one here is the reason why you're doing the pre-qual. Number one is that you're going to see how far off their price is compared to the market value. That's what Simone was talking about. How far off are they, right? Number two, you're going to determine their motivation or intent. Are they just looking for value for insurance, or are they actually motivated to sell? Are they looking to try out the market, or are they moving somewhere and need to sell? Number three, you're going to draw out initial objections in advance, which is what Simone talked about. So that's a brilliant move, drawing out the objections. I've got this whole pre-qual script. I've put it onto 1 page, so you don't even need 2 pages anymore, and it's all ready, and I'm going to share that at the end as well. Next step, step 5, is you're going to deliver the pre-listing package. We call it a PLP. It's a pre-listing package. This is going to contain everything that the client is going to see from you, so that there's no surprises. You're not springing things on them. I remember hearing about and I want to caveat all of this by saying, first of all, we're following a listing process that was shown to us, that we didn't invent this. We kind of just perfected it. And then the other step is that there are lots of different listing presentations out there. If you like this, do it. If you like something else, do that. If it's not working, try ours. If ours isn't working, try theirs, right? This is something you can do trial and error. But I remember hearing one person, another agent on YouTube, and he was saying, oh, I don't talk about the price. I don't talk about my fees. I don't give them any indication. I don't show them any paperwork. And I kind of just spring it on them when I show up at the appointment. I'm like, well, that's a great strategy, right? You're going to just surprise them with all the information at the end. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Can I jump in here, Pablo, really quick? So the reason you want to give them the price and give them the fees up front is so that they can have their mental meltdown at home by themselves, and you don't have to be there, right? They can go through the emotions, because even myself, like the thought of selling my house in this market, it makes you want to be sick, right? Of what possibly it could be worth. It's emotional. So let them have the price so they can go through those waves of emotions. So when you get there, it's more of a business conversation, not necessarily an emotional counseling session.
Right. It's not a huge shock at that point, right? So one of the reasons why you send out a pre-listing package is that this is a very powerful marketing piece, and it's likely going to be the first impression that they're going to get from you as an agent. This is the first chance for you to show them what you're all about, right? We always mail this. We never email this package out. The only time we would ever email this out is if you're listing something and the seller is overseas or the seller is in another. We've even mailed it across the country, but you get someone from Hong Kong who's selling a condo downtown, you need to send it by email, right? And at least you're going to send all the information electronically and they're going to get it. But we normally always deliver it. If a seller is interviewing 3 agents and your package shows up looking like Simone's package there, all nice materials, nice envelope, everything's there, and the other 2 agents email some whiz-bang listing thing online with some online link or whatever, who's made a better first impression? And I guess it depends on who you're sending this to, but in my opinion, having a nice physical package is really going to set you apart from the other agents. It shows them the quality that you're willing to do, not just an online thing. Let them know that you will be delivering the package of information between this and this. Make sure that it's couriered, like Simone said. Make sure you understand if you're going to send it to their work address or to their home, where are they going to be to get it? If you're sending it to their home address, those envelopes are from Amazon. They're just like a waterproof or water resistant envelope that you can buy. They're plastic and they're great in the winter because inevitably you put it in the mailbox and then the mailman comes and accidentally knocks it out of the mailbox and it ends up on the ground. And then you got a totally ruined package. But if it's in an envelope like that, or it rains or something like that, right? Next step is, here's the contents of the PLP, right? I always think about the contents kind of like a left brain, right brain. I'll give some examples at the end, but the left brain is always the creative side, right? And the right brain is more the business analytical side. So on the right side, let's look at that first. You're going to have a little bit about yourself. This is like a non-ego introduction, and make sure this is not like a biopic. Like this is not a 30-page document. Here's my novel that I wrote about myself. You want it to be, here's what I say. What does the seller need to know about yourself and your team to understand who they're going to be working with? So here's a simple bio about yourself, okay? And if you don't have an admin team and you say, I don't have a bunch of staff, I don't have all that, put your lawyer, your stager, your photographer, that could be your team, right? So here's a simple bio. Jane Smith is a powerful listing agent who focuses her time on communicating with her clients, other agents, and prospective buyers with the goal of obtaining offers on her listings and bringing those offers to a successful close. Jane spends her time prospecting daily, looking for buyers and telling neighbors about her new listings, communicating with her admin staff, and keeping her sellers informed on the process of their listing, always advising of the direction needed to achieve a sale. It's a run-on sentence, I see that now. Jane believes that every seller deserves an exceptional experience and delivers on that expectation daily. So there's an example of a bio that says, not, I like walking my dog and I've got 3 kids, and nobody really, that doesn't impact your ability to sell the home. Maybe it does negatively, right? You're going to include in there 3 to 4 testimonials, brief testimonials, CMA with recommended list price. It's really important to have that recommended list price in there. It's going to create that shock, like Simone said. When you're comparing your home to your potential listing to other homes, stick to 3 to 4 active listings and 3 to 4 sales. Don't confuse them with a dozen comparables. Those aren't comparable. Get the 3 to 4 most comparable and use only those. Number 4 is you're going to write what activities that you're going to do to get the home sold. And number 5 is the completed listing contract, including your recommended list price, your fees, the circle stamps, everything that they would need. And Simone has had a 0-minute listing presentation. And a 0-minute listing presentation is when you walk up to the house, knock on the door, you say hi, and they go, how are you doing? Great. Here, we filled it all out for you. Or sometimes they just scan it and send it to you and say, here, it's all done. And she goes by to pick up the keys. So doing all this work in advance, your listing presentation isn't even that important. Does this, like, for those who don't like presenting, you can skip the whole presentation by doing this. And on the left side, we've got a welcome letter and a sample brochure, just a little bit more of the marketing and creative side. Step 6 is you call to confirm. So you're drawing out more objections here. Your fees are too high, the listing price is too low, etc. Do not handle these objections over the phone. Let them know that this is going to be one of the first things that you're going to talk about at the meeting. You know, we have a process that works with that. It's you repeat and affirm, right? Oh, so what you're saying is that the fees seem like they're a little bit too high. Is that right? Wow, it sounds like having the most net in your pocket at the end of the day is going to be really important to you, so we can save some of that equity, right? Great. Well, I'm going to, like Simone says, I love that. I'm writing that down right now. I'm going to make sure that's one of the very first things that we talk about when we meet tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Okay. Boom. Move on. Confirm the meeting time and head on to the next step. So the next step is the calls. Simone mentioned the calls. She calls sellers a minimum of 5 times prior to going to their home. You might be thinking, well, aren't I bothering them by calling that many times? Completely the opposite. You might think that you're bothering them. What they're hearing from you is the amount of communication that you're giving them. And tell me, what's the #1 complaint that sellers make of their realtors? The #1 complaint is a lack of communication. So if you can take away that #1 complaint before you even go and present. Simone has heard numerous times when she goes to the door, you know, I really want to list with you. I like you because the other 2 agents, one of them hasn't even talked to me at all since I gave them my contact information. They set an appointment. They haven't even talked to me at all. And the other one just called me once to figure out how to spell my name, right? Something like that. So how important it is, right? The purpose of demonstrating this level of communication is, again, initial information gathering. You've got the pre-qualification. You're confirming the PLP was delivered and any questions. The morning of the appointment, this is number 4, morning of the appointment. Hey, I'm just confirming our appointment. Look forward to seeing you today. And then on the way to the appointment, I'm just on my way. So there's at least 5 times that she's talking to them, sometimes more. Now, step 8 is the presentation itself. It's really not that important, okay? This could be anywhere between 5 and 25 minutes because you've done so much of the work up front, okay? Do people really want to sit with a real estate agent for an hour to 2 hours? Do you think anybody really wants to hear what you have to say? No. The reality is they want to get their home sold, right? And sellers only want to know 2 things. Write this down. #1 thing that sellers want to know is how much can my home sell for? How much is my home going to sell for? #2, what are you going to do to sell it? If you can just focus on these two things, you'll win every presentation. Trust me. Okay. Now we use the, for the actual presentation script, we use the Mike Ferry CMA presentation. I'm going to put that in the downloads as well. With the step 9. So, oh, sorry, it's part of this presentation, sorry. So yeah, we use the CMA presentation, and the CMA presentation is very simple. It's like, you know, first of all, you close first, you know, so should we do this? Like Simone said, should we list the home? Yeah, great. Okay. You don't have to go through the rest of the presentation. You get to signing the contract. You may have to discuss the price and negotiate a little bit on the price. You may have to talk about the fees and handle the objection of the fees. But other than that, there's really nothing else to the presentation. Now, if you have to get into a presentation, you start with in the Mike Ferry presentation, it talks about it. And I'm going to share that script with you so you can go through it and practice it if you want to. But you basically go through the comparable sales and helping them understand the value of the property. And then you come to the price. And then you're going to go at the end of it based on everything you've seen. You know, would you rather go and listen to those other 2 agents, or are we ready to sign the contract now? And you just get it done. So this is where you're going to be closing for the sale, which is the next step. Okay. Always arrive early, never late. If you're late, not only does it look bad, but you're going to be exhausted, sweaty, you know, out of breath, unorganized. That's the worst feeling in the world. Do you know how stressful that is when you show up late for a listing presentation? Oh, account for traffic, account for everything. If you need to show up an hour early and go preview some homes in the neighborhood, do that. Rather have you do that than showing up 5 minutes before out of breath, okay? You boost that energy and enthusiasm, fake it if you don't have it, smile, nod, create energy in the room and say, I'm excited about getting your home on the market and getting it sold. Can I put my things down at the table where we can meet? And you know, you go and meet, like Simone says, don't meet in the living room. Don't sit down on the living room. You can't sign documents sitting on a couch. So you sit. Now, one person told me, should I go to the dining table or the kitchen table if there's an option? And I love what they said is that psychologically, the dining table is where you have guests and visitors, and the breakfast table is where you have family. So meet at the breakfast table, right? You want to now kind of inject yourself right into their family because this is a personal situation. So if you can meet at the breakfast table, meet at the breakfast table. It's going to be smaller too. You're not sitting way apart from people. Preview the home by yourself. Now this is like a key time-saving measure. Most people, it's like you show up, of course, and the seller is going to say what? Hey, great. Well, let me show you around, right? And they'll walk you through the house and say, well, this is, you know, we repainted this wall because Johnny did some markings on here, but I had to put 4 coats of paint on there. So that's done. And this is where we redid the baseboards in this room, and we put new silver hinges on the doors over here. It used to be brass. They're going to tell you every little detail of the home that doesn't really matter that much. So you say, you know, I appreciate that, and I really want to take a tour with you later. But first, I want to see the home through the eyes of the buyer, so that if I were a prospective buyer going through your home, what would my impression be? Do you mind? I'll take a few minutes. I'll come back. I'll meet you at the kitchen table. Great. Now, this always works. Like if this doesn't work, it just means you haven't practiced it enough. You walk through, your walkthrough just took 2 minutes instead of 20 minutes. You saved yourself a lot of time, okay? The presentation script, keep it really concise, stay on script. The sellers should have already seen everything that you're gonna give them, so that really you're just determining the price and maybe you're reviewing the comparable sales. Does that make sense? Step 9 is closing. Now, if you didn't hear me already, but you've already closed once, because when you walk in, you're like, are we gonna do this? Should we get the home on the market and get it sold? And if they say yes, that's your first close. You're going right to the table to sign, right? If they have objections, an objection is an unanswered question in the mind of the seller, okay? So if you ask at the end, are you comfortable and confident that I can get your home sold? And they say yes, then you say, great, let's sign the contract so I can get started selling your home. Now, if they have an objection, they say, well, you know what, we'd like to sleep on it. How many people have had we'd like to sleep on it, right? We'll let you know tomorrow after we've met with the other 2 agents. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, obviously there is still an unanswered question. What concerns do you have about moving forward tonight so I can get started marketing your home for sale? Well, you know, we like what you have to say. We think you're a great agent, but we think that, you know, my cousin will do it for $5,000 less. So now all of a sudden, so now we're back to the fees again, right? So you've got to handle that objection. You can handle objections, but something like putting it off for a day, that's not an objection. That's just, there's an unanswered question in their mind. So make sure that you can deal with that. I have a whole module on handling objections, and we're going to go through detailed all the handling of objections like this. But for today, we're going to move on. The last point I wrote here is that, remember, they're expecting a salesperson. You are a salesperson. They don't want a friend. They don't want a best friend at the home. They want a salesperson, someone who can actually get their home sold. So don't be afraid of closing and saying closing lines and closing techniques, because that's what they want. So who do they want when it comes to selling their home? Do they want some mushy, wishy-washy buddy of theirs? Like their buddy that is selling real estate and just got his license? Do they want that? Or do they want someone who's actually willing and able to close them at the table? They want somebody like that, somebody who's powerful and who's a salesperson who's going to close, okay? So don't be afraid to close more times than you're comfortable with. Step 10, this is the last step, is the administration. You know, follow a very defined process. You'll see in my documents that I provide there, there's a process for administering a listing. And what that does is eliminate mistakes, okay? It'll also make you look like a rock star because you have this whole process that everything happens, but with very little time and energy, all this communication and all this wonderful actions are actually happening, okay? Do not stop communicating when you take the listing. In your plan will be a communication from you or your team to the seller within 24 hours of taking the listing. Don't drop the ball. How many times do realtors take a listing and then the seller doesn't hear from them for a week? Oh, I know, I've been working on things. I've been booking the photography. I've been doing things. Well, they don't know that. They feel like, you know, they got all this communication leading up to it and then you just leave them. No, right away, there's going to be communication, and that's part of your process. So in our process, there's an email that goes out within 24 hours. Our assistant calls them and then starts booking, you know, when's a good time for photography. So there's communications that are actually scripted and created throughout this entire plan. Here's the downloads. Okay, so if you want to get a copy of anything that we're doing, there's this and more. So write down this website. It's agentupgrade.ca/downloads. And on there, I've got the seller lead sheet, and it's all like Agent Upgrade branded, so it doesn't even have a company on it. If you want to go and change anything, I don't care. Change whatever you like. The seller lead process is very specific to Simone and our team. So take that and modify it, create whatever you like out of it. I hope that inspires you to make some changes to your listing process and actually create and think about what that process looks like, what the, you know, going from one step down to the next, right? And in there is also that listing detailed worksheet. And Simone she kind of touched on that. That's the one sheet that she brings during the listing presentation, because once she takes that listing, she needs to talk to them about these things. So great, I'm glad, you know, we've signed the contract. I'm really excited. I've got a couple of things like housekeeping things I need to work on. Maybe she's talked to them about a staging consultation. Is there going to be a coming soon sign put out on the front? And if so, when? Some sellers may not want a coming soon. No, I got to tell my neighbors first, right? So you're going to write coming soon sign, yes, but wait until Monday to put it up, right? And this is communicating with your admin or communicating with your sign people, or just so you don't forget, right? When is the lawn sign going to go up? Are there any special notes? Is it a corner lot? Does it need 2 signs, right? Photography, is it going to be daytime or twilight? Is there a measure report, you know, condo docs, keys, alarm instructions for the house? Is there any instructions for the alarm? So you don't forget these things and walk away and don't have details on the home. You've got a detailed listing worksheet that you can ask those detailed questions afterwards, okay? Are we ready for the bonus? So I want to go through this, and this is, I mean, when I read this. This is, to me, just gold. And this is from my coach. And it was titled, How a Seller Selects an Agent. These are my handwritten notes that I took from a presentation once. And I want to share these with you. I highly recommend you write these down. And it's how a seller selects an agent. Number one, through the natural personal power you display. Are you the right person for the job? Are you displaying that confidently? So I'll read that again. Number one is the natural personal power that you display. Are you the right person for the job? And are you displaying that confidently? Did you guys sense Simone's confidence? Like, wasn't it amazing? She's just, I mean, if you're up against somebody like Simone, you're in trouble. She's got a lot of confidence and a lot of personal power. Number two, your knowledge and skills are stronger than your competition. Now, did it say that your listing presentation is longer? No. Did it say your listing presentation is fancier? No. It says your knowledge and skills are stronger than your competition. Can you give a straightforward answer? Number three, because of the words we use. Think of the scripts, right? The words that we use are really critical. Are you prepared, professional, routine, and scripted? So because of the words we use, are you prepared, professional, routine, and scripted? Number four, we are involved in the role of selling versus telling. Great salespeople ask questions, then listen intently to the answers. And then they ask the next question to lead the prospect to the conclusion that's good for both parties. I'm going to stop the screen share so you can see me full screen here. So I'll read that again. We're involved in the role of selling versus telling. Great salespeople ask questions, then listen intently to the answers, and then ask the next question to lead the prospect to the conclusion that's good for both parties. So they don't tell them, you need to be priced at this. They ask the right questions to guide them to the price that the seller is just going to go, well, obviously we got to be listed at 650. It's obvious based on the questions that you've asked. Number five, clear enunciation of the words we use. Identify idiosyncrasies like, well, etc. Record your presentations to help identify them. Anybody ever recorded a listing presentation live? That's a scary thing to do. You know, I've known agents who have carried like a little pocket recorder in their chest pocket there and recorded their listing presentation. Do you have like, are you hesitating? Are you not enunciating clearly? Number six, because of our smile, our handshake, and our body language. Simone always talks about the Wonder Woman pose, and she teaches our daughters the Wonder Woman pose. And you know the Wonder Woman pose? This one, right? It's like that confident, right? You're not like this and all mousy. You have confidence. And it's so cute because our daughters play volleyball and we see them on the sideline. They're standing like this, chest up, right? Like it's awesome to see. Number seven, our business attire. Does your business attire display professionalism? Because the public is judgmental. So our business attire is going to be definitely one of the factors in who they choose. Number eight, the strength of our voice. It's a muscle. You have to practice your presentation. That's why all top agents that I know role play and practice routinely. No matter how good they get, they practice and practice. Do the best actors and actresses practice? Yes. Do the best Broadway musical performers practice every day? Yes. Do the best dancers still practice? Yes. You can't just be a superstar and then stop practicing. Number nine, listen to what they're saying versus listening so we can respond quickly. I love that one. Listen to what they're saying versus listening so that we can respond quickly. You know the old, like somebody's talking, you just can't wait for them to stop talking so you can ask your question? Number 10, we give them straightforward answers to their questions. Give them the answer. We give them
Pablo, can I jump in there? Everyone listen to this. You need to be straight with them right now.
Yeah.
They don't need fluff. You have to tell them the truth. If they say 700 and it's only worth 6, tell them it's only worth 6. You may be saving them by being truthful.
And you'll say it with confidence, and you'll say it with questions that are going to lead them to understand, you know, when you go through the CMA presentation, you say, okay, this one is worth, you know, this house sold for $599. This one sold for $603, and it's a lot like yours. And this one sold for $592. So given all of the recent sales that have happened, what price do you feel we should set on your home? And they go, well, I think we should go with 700. And you go, exactly why is your house worth $100,000 more than the rest of these? Well, I put a bar in here. Great. How much is the bar worth? Well, I spent like $20,000 on that bar. Great. And if somebody were to buy that home and they didn't like that bar and they wanted to change the bar, how much would that bar be worth to them? Well, I guess they would, but I like that bar. Well, great. Do you want to buy your house? Because it's worth 700,000 to you, right? So, you know, it's about asking the right questions that are going to lead to a logical response that'll give them. Anyway, so we give them straightforward answers to their questions. Just give them the answer. Number 11, we practice and we present with strength and authority. We practice and we present with strength and authority. Number 12, we're willing to tell the truth. They have their own ideas, and we need to challenge that. There's a really tremendous skill my coach taught me called the skill of confrontation. Being able to confront someone about something. I mean, whether it's an addict in your family and you're trying to confront them with it, there's a skill in how to do confrontation very, very well. There's a time when you can actually push and press someone a little bit more. Okay, confrontation is a tremendous skill. Number 13, second last one, we have standards that we won't go below. And they're going to respect us for having those standards. Standards, you guys, did you hear Simone's standards? So she's pre-qualifying. If they seem like they're out to lunch or they're not motivated, that's below her standards. She's not going to go out and do a listing presentation because she has standards. And her standards involve, she'd rather be at home with the kids or with me or doing yoga or doing something else than being out there at some random person's house who's not motivated, right? She's got standards. So we have standards. Number 14, last one, because you're not afraid to stand up and walk out of the presentation without accepting the listing. Who here has the guts to go to a listing presentation and have the confidence of being able to stand up and say, you know, Mr. Seller, it just looks like based on what we've talked about here, I'm not going to be able to get your home sold. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to take your listing. So I wish you the best. If anything changes, let me know. Thanks very much. Goodbye. And walk out. That takes balls, I'll tell you. But if you have the confidence and you're not tied to the outcome, you'll get everything that you want. You'll get your price, you'll get your commissions, you'll get everything that you want if you can actually have the confidence of knowing that you'll stand up and walk away from this. Does that make sense? Okay, guys, I think we might be wrapped up here. This is the longest agent upgrade. Plug for working with buyers. So Simone was the selling listing agent. I was the buyer's agent. And in the buyer's agent's scheme here was working with as many possible buyers, improving the standards, improving the processes so that I could work with lots of buyers, give them tremendous service, and make a lot of money doing it. I'm going to show you how I did 56 buyer sales in 1 year myself. And I'm going to show you all the things that I learned, the skills that I learned, the techniques that I learned, and why I'm going to save you a lot of time in working with buyers. That's May 7th. I'm going to, register. If you go to agentupgrade.ca, you can register right from there on the Eventbrite. And we'll be sending out the Zoom link last minute, just like this, so that we don't get Zoom bombed. That's going to be a great session. And we'd like you to spread the word. If at all possible, help us out, find us on social media and spread the word. I'd appreciate it.
I think we're happy to stick around. We don't have another appointment, so if anybody has questions, we're happy to answer questions. And Pablo will post all the downloads so you can do that. So any questions or comments?
I just realized for the last few slides, I wasn't sharing my slides. So hopefully you got enough out of it.
Yeah, we got them.
The slides were not very important.
That was excellent.
You like that, Muriel?
Amazing. Yeah.
Once you know it and once you start doing it, it's like, how do people actually do this another way? I can't understand.
Yeah. And you explained so many of the details. Like you didn't, so often things get left out, but excellent role play, excellent.
Thank you. Well, I want to emphasize again that took me like 6 months to put together of constant effort. It's not something that you necessarily have to believe that you're going to all of a sudden have this listing package and it's going to be all perfect in a week or two. What better time than now than, you know, to put together a new listing package and to actually put that process in place. Simone, one of the things we talked about, which you never did touch on, is in today's market with COVID-19 and everything that's going on and distancing and all that, what kind of things would you be doing differently today than you normally would? Can you touch on that?
Yeah, you know that thing we go to on Saturdays, that Zoom call, we were built for this. Fortunately, my listing process was built for COVID because 90% of everything I do doesn't require me to go into their home or to be with them. And there absolutely is, there's really no reason for you to have to even attend their home, especially now if you just use the right language and wording and lead them down the path, right? There was a lot of questions in the chat about, you know, really, can you really price a property without physically being there? Yes, you can. I never go see the house first. Never, ever. So you get photos from them, or you get a video. You know, if you ask a seller, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, would you do me a favor and just take 10, 15 photos, or even take a video if you know how to do that and send them to me? Oh, we'd love to do that. They go around their house. And if you have anything really special you think I should see, make sure you take a picture of that. Okay, and then I get like 40 photos. Perfect. They love that. Do you think the other agent is asking for that? It's not a burden for them. They're interested in giving you everything that they possibly can, so then hopefully they can get what they want when they go to sell their house. So not much has changed, I'd say. You can do is, you need to know how to use Zoom, because your listing presentations, you need to get familiar and practice with someone else in your house how to do a Zoom call, so then you get familiar with it and you don't have any tech malfunctions.
And fortunately, Mariel and I did a Zoom instruction video. If you ever need that, just ping us and let me know. But Mariel Gordon on her YouTube page has 2 videos on how to start a Zoom call, how to join a Zoom call, and they're very informative.
Yeah. I think the other thing I didn't mention, which I'll quickly mention, is I had this little game that I played where when I was leaving my house to take a listing, this is kind of Grant Cardone style, it was my obligation to come home with the signed contract. So I had this mindset of, if I'm going to leave Capri and Carmen and Pablo at 4 p.m. or 6 p.m. or whatever time, 2 p.m. on a Saturday, and I'm going to go leave them for that period of time, it is my duty to come back with a signed contract. So my kids, they would hold me accountable, and they'd know I'd be going on a listing presentation. And when I'd come in the door, how many times do you think I'd ever want to tell them that I didn't take it? So when I was out there, I was coming back with signatures, right? So
Awesome.
you just play these games.
Okay, I'm gonna put my email address in here just in case there's something that it's pablo@agentupgrade.ca. If there's any forms or anything that I talked about here that I didn't upload to the Agent Upgrade downloads page, then just send me an email, let me know, and I'd be happy to send them to you, because we're an open book. That's what we're doing.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to wrap it up then. Anything else that we can help with, just you know how to reach us, and we look forward to you guys improving your listing presentations. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Hey, Pablo.
Yeah.
Hey, can you and Simone stay on for a second?